your favorite podcast show of the week. It is Location Weekly. It's episode number 570. We're recording actually on the 20th of May. Two podcasts we're recording this week because Brianna's traveling next week, so we're just banging it out. But yeah, we've got a good show ahead. For those that are here in Canada, it's a long weekend, so enjoy it. We've got great weather here in Toronto, where I am. It's like literally like 90 degrees today outside, so kind of crazy. But how are you?
I'm good. We have a long weekend coming next weekend here. And we are also supposed to have like 90-degree weather this weekend. Today it's like 75 maybe, but it's just, I'm excited. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Yeah, but I'm good. I mean, just preparing, heading over to Programmatic IO in Vegas on Monday for next week. So that's why we're recording early and excited, like I haven't been to a big conference in a while. I mean, I did do IAB earlier this year, but this is like a Vegas conference, a lot of old programmatic people from the industry, including some of my old digital element club over there. So excited to just catch up and like do something normal and maybe go to a show or something if I get a second.
Nice.
So lots to look forward to, but we are just cracking it out this week. So we have a pretty good show today.
All right, we'll kick it off.
All right, let's do it. All right, so Near Intelligence, if you're familiar with them, they are a global SaaS provider. They focus on privacy-led data intelligence across people, places, and products, kind of like our people, places, and media. And they have reached a business, I would say a merger with Kludeln, which is a publicly held company, and an acquisition corp as well. So they have entered in this like business combination agreement that's going to result in Near being a publicly traded company. And, I'm not really sure exactly what the details are in terms of like what market capitalization of nearly $1 billion means. But it sounds like it's good for them. So just a little bit about Near, if you're not super familiar, but they have, one of the world's largest sources of data intelligence, and they are touting 1.6 billion unique user IDs, over 70 million places, and 44 countries. So very large data set there. They use AI-driven modeling, to talk about like better understanding consumer behavior across a bunch of different data sources. And their existing equity holders include Sequoia Capital, Telstra, JP Morgan, and Greater Pacific Capital. So, I think this is good for Near. It's interesting to me though, because we've seen a lot of these like location data companies kind of phasing out or consolidating. And although they are in essence like moving into a business agreement, they are moving into a publicly traded company, and this is kind of a big deal. So I feel like this is very interesting and one to keep an eye on and watch, because we've kind of been predicting, hey, location data is like oil and it's getting more and more expensive. It's harder to find. And here we are seeing something like this happen. So I'm very interested to hear what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Near's been a player in our space for quite a while. We've talked about them on the show in different ways. As for example, they've got a whole offering around measuring digital out of home in APAC in particular, and a number of other things. But I think as you and I have talked about, with all the changes in privacy rules and challenges that's created for many companies, to see that here's a company that's like choose public, and with the scrutiny that comes from that, and the ups and downs, as you roll with the stock market, is interesting, right? I think the other interesting thing for me about this specifically is Kludeln is the publicly traded company that they're merging with to then become a public company, all merged together, but they're changing the name. The name will be Near Intelligence. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. Yeah, and I think perhaps this gives them just a way to have some of the existing shareholders, be able to cash out a little more easily, or to take on potentially new investors that want to come in different ways. But I think from a global point of view, like Near has definitely been sort of expanding over the last number of years into other markets. Obviously, they're been active with us at the LBMA. They were present at the Geospatial Forum last week when I was there. So I don't have a ton to say about this. Obviously, it's a financial transaction first and foremost, but it's going to be an interesting one to watch. I think just from that privacy point of view and kind of what it means in terms of their public profile going forward. So we'll see.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. On to our second story now. So there's a company called FinGo, FINGO, which is a London, UK based biometric identity company. And so they've introduced something called FinGo Vend, which is a vending machine that allows their users to pay and prove their age, so age verification, through a scanning of their finger using technology that they've adopted from Hitachi that does vein mapping. So every person on the planet has a unique vein pattern to their identity, just like we have a unique, fingerprints and unique, heartbeats and all kinds of other things that are unique about every one of us. But they're tapping into vein identity, and so they're using this to enable a range of transaction things to happen, payments, as I said, age verification, access to buildings, those kinds of things. So in 2020, Manchester City Council was the first to approve the FinGo technology for use in some of their facilities. So customers could go into, places, where alcohol is being served and kind of just verify that they're okay to come in and they're of age or to purchase, alcohol or things like that. And now with this latest offering, they've teamed up with Vagabond Wines and a craft brewery company called First Chop, are the first brands to offer their selection of drinks through a FinGo vending machine. So they're pushing this out there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, first I thought it took me way back. Hitachi is a name that we haven't really heard of in a while, like a very long time. And
Yeah.
growing up, there used to be a Hitachi factory like right down the road from my house. And I always thought of them as like televisions or VCRs or something. So it's interesting now that we're talking about the vein scanning and like the biometrics of things. And another fun fact that I heard once, I'm not sure if this is true, but apparently your fingerprint, your vein pattern can be like up to 100,000 times more identifying and more unique than even a fingerprint, which I thought was very interesting. So I think this is really cool. I mean, one is as proving your age is a great thing, and maybe it's something that is not necessarily used for your identity. I think is very interesting. So I like that aspect of it. It seems a little bit more forward thinking, and it's not my face, right? It's like my finger. But I think with the fact that we know that it is very unique, if it's going to be used for multiple things, like what's the impact going to be from I guess a privacy standpoint, but at the least, I think it's very interesting. And I love the idea of just automating age verification in a different way instead of like having to pull out a physical driver's license or anything else. And then the fact that it's convenient, like through a vending machine, is amazing too. So.
Yeah, and I think there's just a general growth towards using different types of biometrics for payments, right? I read another story earlier this week about MasterCard, starting to get more and more into this space. There's a pilot that they're running in Brazil with a grocery or supermarket chain called Saint Marche or Saint Marche in Sao Paulo. And you go into the stores and you enroll, like you sign up for this program. But once you're in the store, or even through the store's mobile app, you can pay by smiling or by waving, like gesture-based payments, like into a camera, or things like that, because it, like, obviously you've already enrolled and it recognizes you. So there's a lot of, tech companies like FinGo that are kind of playing around with this kind of stuff. Or, obviously they're using Hitachi, and I know Fujitsu's got technology in this space. We've talked about PopID, but we're going to talk more about them in a second. Before, but yeah, I think it's the biometrics are happening more and more. I think also driven by COVID to some extent, because especially with the facial based payments and things like that, it's touch free, right? So there's stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's go to another very familiar company, one that we have talked about a lot, we know well within the LBMA, and that's Reveal Mobile out of, I believe it's Raleigh, North Carolina. And they are a location intelligence company. If you're not familiar, they've done geofencing marketing software. They've been in the space for a long time. And I would say that they've grown, they've expanded, they've kind of applied some different use cases. But I really like this one. So they, if you remember, they acquired a company called Mira in October of last year. And now they're launching this Mira console, which is a self-service platform for out-of-home campaign measurement. So this console allows for measurements and reporting around traditional out-of-home, digital out-of-home, so place-based, programmatic, anything that's like moving out-of-home ad campaigns. And then it's measuring this based on, it could be in store, via mobile app, online actions, any type of it seems like any type of to their out-of-home ad exposure. So they're touting that users can see all these associated campaigns with a specific advertiser, get a quick view on what has, completed, what's kind of in progress in terms of the campaigns that are running, get this variety of different measurement types, and reporting, download it, make it this like very fully automated offering. What's interesting about this is that this was developed in conjunction with Lyft. So specifically for Lyft, obviously has a need for what they're doing, and they're just continuing to expand this. One of the first customers that they're saying has adopted this new platform is Domino, and they are a programmatic out-of-home specialist. So what I think is very exciting about this story specifically is that, I think Reveal has done well over the years. They have done very well, but I think that they haven't really blown up yet, and they haven't done something huge. And what I love about this is that this space, in terms of out-of-home measurement, is still very much uncharted. There's a variety of methodologies. There's a variety of companies that are trying to do it, but no one has actually claimed ownership of it. And it's kind of the wild, wild west. Doing some discovery earlier, when I first started this new role, I was like, hey, interested in out of home, and just looking into measurement, currency, how was this counted? How, everything in the measurement space, including CTV or whatever, is very, very evolving right now. It's in a very nascent state, and everything's kind of shifting from old traditional measurement to more how can we deterministically measure this, or even probabilistically measure things. So I think this is a great opportunity for Reveal. I'm excited to keep an eye on this one and see, what other companies are going to start to adopt their measurement platform here. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot to add to what you just said. I think it's a good offering. Obviously, they built upon the acquisition there to kind of bring this together. I really like that they worked with somebody like Lyft to design it together, and I think anytime you're building technology platforms, right? It's one thing to say, hey, this is I've got this idea, this thing's going to be great, and everybody's going to love it. It's another thing to actually work with a potential client and develop it together, right? And then kind of figure out how you find more clients like that and scale it. So I think that's really interesting. Yeah, I echo what you said. I think we've talked in the last year we've probably covered at least a dozen out of home measurement tools that have been announced. So I think there's still more coming, and it's a wide field, right? Even Near that I just talked about earlier, is in this space too, right? And so I think there's still a lot. I think what's going to happen for me is that there's somebody's going to start to get real traction in that space, and then you'll start to see some consolidation if there's nuances to technology platforms that can improve one over another, or a feature that can be pulled in, or a customer base that can be acquired or something like that. But yeah, I like what I've always liked what Reveal has been doing, and they continue to grow. I think at a nice measured pace.
Pardon the pun, measured pace.
Measured pace. There you go. All right, final story. So this one's kind of all over the place. Kind of coming back to the facial recognition and payment stuff. So Domino's Pizza. See, you didn't get the pizza story, Brianna. I got the pizza story.
That was going to be my comment, is that for once I didn't get a pizza story.
Anyways, Domino's Pizza is offering a promotion where customers can order by making different facial expressions and moving their heads. So they're using PopID's technology to do this. And it's in partnership also with a promotion for the upcoming season of Stranger Things on Netflix. So they're calling this a mind ordering app. So the app uses facial recognition, eye tracking to power pizza orders via movements such as nodding, tilting your head, or closing your eyes, and more. So it sounds really fun. It sounds really interesting. It sounds super gimmicky. But like I will say this, PopID is a company I've been tracking for a while. We had them come speak at a Retail Loco way back when, and they continue to evolve. They continue to put great technology out there and sign great deals and get involved in things like Netflix shows. So it's they were one of those first pay by face companies that I had come across way back when. So I'm kind of intrigued by this one. I mean, I'm not a Stranger Things fan. I don't know if you are, but you can speak to that. But I think there's definitely some fun to this, and the fact that this isn't happening like in a store. This is happening in the app. So they've built in the facial recognition technology, same as what you do to unlock your phone, I guess. But with some more power and algorithms around that to do eye tracking and other things. But kind of bringing that technology now to the app instead of what we were talking about earlier, where it's happening in the store. What are your thoughts?
Well, I do love Stranger Things, as a matter of fact. So I'm excited about the new season. What?
You're gonna try this out?
I will try it out because I don't order Domino's often, but there's like times when I'm working late and I just need a quick fix for my kids, and they have a gluten-free pizza. So it's like an easy win because there's one right down the street. So I'm a big fan of
I love Domino's. So like if you want, you could try it out and then have them deliver it all the way up to Toronto. I'm in.
Well, my concern is like with the facial thing, I don't know. What if you mess up and end up ordering lots of pizzas? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
You just keep winking to the phone, and it's you're trying to get Jerome's attention, but it's you now ordered 7 pizzas.
Yeah. I will report back, okay? But I like the story. Okay. It's fun. It's cute. It's whimsical. Whatever, cheeky.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, that's it, folks. That's our show for this week. We thank you, as always, for listening and watching. Please reach out if you have story ideas. I did actually, get a couple this week that came in from folks. So thank you for that. Yeah, give us some likes, some love, some comments, whatever you want on whatever platform you're consuming this. And we'll see you next week with another show. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.